Let's go into overtime. Okay, do you hear me with Unico Williams Sports? Overall 99 Sports. We coming at you. We just got done being online, but you just we gotta get into overtime. Zelmay, I'm joined by my boy Zelmay, Lay Alpha Zelmay. If you're nasty, like Megan Good said. What how do you feel about? Because I know me personally, I wanted to see Josh Allen get a chance, but because of the rules at this time, how do you feel about these overtime rules? Do you think they need to change, or is there like a specific time that you can bend the rule? What do you think?
The the rule kind of weird, but I get it. It's for safety. Um, and you don't really want to change rules for regular season and playoffs because we have seen this year where in overtime a lot of teams have not scored
Mm.
at all, where it's been ties. We saw a lot of ties. We almost saw a tie against the Raiders and Chargers. So it's not like a common thing that the team score in the first drive.
Mm-hmm.
And I get why everybody want it because you want to see Josh Allen get the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But your defense is rated number one in the league, and you had 13 seconds to stop a person going from the 25,
Mm-hmm.
and you didn't. So that's your defense got to play too, right? You can't just be like, oh, I want to watch Josh Allen play amazing. You also watching the number one defense in the league, and they should get a stop. So the
Mm-hmm.
argument kind of hard to have when you have two all stars, all Pro Bowl safeties, multiple years, and they don't get the stop at the end of the game. So it's kind of like as a fan, you kind of just like want something, but it's not might not be like necessarily true. And it happens all the time. We always want things that might not necessarily be true, but we just wanted to see it so bad. Because I would be very interested to see who would ever stop scoring.
That's
And
valid.
could Davis get 7 touchdowns in a game? Could Davis get 7 touchdowns before?
Man, when it's all said and done, man, that dude had an amazing game. But I I personally think that because you saw there's a difference in what they say when it comes to overtime rules in the regular season. They say, okay, these are the rules. This is what happens. Blah blah blah. But when you're in the playoffs and you get into that, the refs say we will play until we have a winner. Okay. Now, I don't think that they should go so far as to the college rules where both teams get the chance 20 at the 20-yard line.
That is.
I
I said a game actually earlier this year that went like 12 overtime.
Yeah, yeah,
It was like LSU versus somebody, and that game lasted all night, and it was like 3 in the morning. Game was still. I'm like, no, we don't want that, no.
right. And I personally, I don't think we need to go that far, but I do think, which would be great though, 12 overtimes with those two teams, the Bills and the Chiefs. That would have been dope. I don't care. We would have stayed up until Monday morning, okay? For that kind of entertainment. If both of them just keep scoring. But and then also we'd be trying to figure out who we need to get out of there on defense because this should not last this long. Somebody got to fold. But I think that, if one team scores a touchdown, I think the other team should get the opportunity to score a touchdown. Not that, like, I see how they broke it down. Like, if it's a field goal, you get a chance. Cool,
They
whatever.
changed that rule actually 3 years ago. By the way, for the people that don't know, the Chiefs said change it to the rule you said it did. The Chiefs and the committee, the owner of the Chiefs and the general manager all said change the rule where both teams get a chance to score. The team that said no to that rule was one of the teams that said no to that rule change was the Bills. So it's very interesting that 3 years later.
Bite them in the butt.
And the Chiefs were the team for it. They're like, hey, this doesn't make sense. If they score a touchdown, they should at least get a chance to score back.
And there's not that many games where, like, you can't say, oh, it's making a game longer, because there's not that many ties every year. You know what I'm saying? The only time there's
Well,
ties.
it's becoming more lately. I didn't know it was a time to Donovan McNabb and them tied in like
That Donovan
2008.
McNabb one. That
And I watched football for 14 years. I never seen it, but last year I seen like 4 ties. Then Detroit, the Steelers had a tie with somebody else.
Yeah.
Somebody else. We almost had a tie with the Raiders and Chargers. Like I'm seeing more ties, but that's because of the field goal rule they got now. Used to, you kick the field goal, you win. So for 14 years, you never saw a tie because the team kick a field goal, they win. Now you kick a field goal, they kick a field goal back. We just keep playing.
until you run out of
So you
time.
actually see tie. Yeah, so ties are more relevant now since they changed the rule 3 years ago. So I
Yeah.
have seen more ties since they changed it, which might lead to even more ties if you do touchdown for touchdown. So I don't know though, but
I I I I just think touchdown for touchdown. Like get tell
but then when do you end it though? Do you just like, oh, after y'all both score y'all first touchdown, then the next person score touchdown win, or do you just
no.
keep going
Keep
until?
going. Keep going. Keep going.
What if the game never? What if it technically like never ends and like people start getting hurt for real? Because let's be honest, the Bills defense was that's when injuries happen. When your defense look like that and the Chiefs defense look like that, that's when you start getting injuries for real. And I don't know if you want that going into
It's too rare.
the
I
Bengals.
I think that'd be such a rare thing that that's just got to be a part of it. It's so rare. More often than not, you will have a winner off based off of this kind of situation.
I don't know about that last night game because them defense wasn't stopping nobody. Somebody might have just give up and go for two and risk it all on one play.
That's what
That's
happened.
the only way.
That's what's going to happen. Somebody gonna
But
go for
that'll be
two.
later in the game though. You won't do that early because you don't want to risk it. Like, hey man, we just gonna keep.
If I score two touchdowns and you match me, I'm going for it. If I get it back, and then I'm put the pressure on you. Or if I go for it and I don't get it, here's your chance. So that's where I'm at. You got a chance to either we gonna win this game or we gonna lose it. Period. That's gonna happen. I don't think they'll go more than two possessions trying to match touchdowns. I think after that we match the touchdown and then boom. Or say, you
Oh,
know what? I gotta believe in my defense. So this time, I even though the defense got us here, I gotta kick this field goal. Or you might say I'm going for it. I just feel like you got a better chance to let's match it up. Let's match it up, and then somebody gonna say two. That coach gonna help put up that two, and you know it would have been Andy Reid.
but
But
if it let it, but if that game went on about 10 more minutes and then people started getting hurt, people gonna point to that like this was a dumb idea because we all reactionary. We
yeah,
all bro. If four defenders got hurt and then next week they get blown out by the Bengals, whichever team, you gonna be like, oh, that's the reason why this overtime rule is stupid because you never gonna get it perfect.
but
Because
you
we gonna always want more. The same thing I said about the college football playoffs. Once you do four, they gonna want eight. Once you get eight, they gonna want 16. Why? Because the ninth team they gonna want in because it's unfair. The fifth team they gonna want in because it's unfair. First off, you shouldn't do eight because the same rule about that. You shouldn't do eight. Why you shouldn't do eight? Because as we saw, it's really always only three good teams ever. Joe, it's only three. It's Alabama, it's Georgia, and then it's either Ohio State and Clemson usually. And after that, the one seed just blows out the fourth seed every year,
yeah,
and the fifth seed would get blew out too. Because the fifth seed probably already got blew out by one of these four teams, because that's how it usually go. And you be like, why did we even put them in here? Because you don't give Nick Saban and Kirby Smart 3 weeks to prepare for a team and act like they not finna beat them.
mm-hmm. Yeah. You do end up with people like with four. You end up with possibly a team or two that didn't have no business being there in the first place. But at the same time, I just feel like, man,
Like, look at Cincinnati and Michigan. They got destroyed. And Alabama and Georgia just played each other. And be like, oh, them the two best teams in the whole country.
and it worked out
So,
that time. It worked out that time.
but at the same time, them other two teams look like they didn't deserve to be on the field. Them two teams,
That's
Cincinnati and Michigan. So
yep.
you gonna say the same thing with this? Once something bad happen, or once you want more, like somebody gonna want some more, and then you gonna want more. Cause we got the field goal thing after years. People like, oh, it's fair now because you don't win off field goals, and now we get more ties, and now they want touchdown. But then when does it end? And then people start getting hurt, they gonna complain about it because we fans, bro. So I get it. But I'm coming from like a business um idea aspect on logistics, and it's not really. I know I'll be disagreed with, but I'm just saying because as a fan, we want Josh Allen to get the ball. to see if he score again because we want to see this game. We want to see them score 25 for every 2 minutes for the next game because it'll be the most incredible thing we ever seen. But at the same time, is it logistically possible that it can hurt you? And by the way, like I said, the Bills voted against it, so I don't feel bad. Stay fault.
Keep in mind that baseball is the slowest sport in the game, or slowest sport period, and they'll go all night. They'll go all night. But I don't think that you.
And it's a terrible experience, by the way, if you're a fan of like the Yankees, like I am. That's the only team like in Philadelphia I'm not like I do not like. That's the only Philadelphia team I'm not a fan of.
Who?
The Phillies.
The Phillies.
I'm more of a Yankees person. I'm like that's the only team that you can ever say I'm a fan of. That's like you can call what you call them like the 49ers Cowboy team that won in the 90s that you just become a fan because they won. The Yankees be my only team in that category. But I don't really care about baseball that much, but I do like baseball.
Boston, I'm a Boston guy and a LA Dodgers guy, and yeah, them the ones you're gonna stay up to. But then when it be the Colorado Rockies versus like the Cleveland Indians, you just like man, just in the game, like whatever. But
it's still rough. It's still, especially if them games go into multiple innings. I'm like, oh my god, I want to go home. You ever been to a game that went like 14 innings?
I have not. I've not been to one of those. What was your experience like?
The Pearl Braves. They got the little AA team.
Oh yeah.
Up in Pearl that we played. They went to 40. Yeah. I'm like, bro, it's night. It's cold. I'm like, oh, I want to go home. This game is boring. It is way too long. By the way, baseball is much better in person than watching on TV because you'd be distracted until they time because you'd be talking to people.
BG, go see who it is. Man, I'm just popping out here today. But yeah, 100%. I don't know. We that's something to be seen. He's just like we don't think about it until it actually happens. So, man, my boy Zell May, I appreciate you giving us your thoughts. Y'all know the deal. Links in the bio. Do what you gotta do. Come see us. You know what we do. Okay.
Peace.
Okay, I thought you was gonna tell your social.
There's link in the bio.
Link in the bio. Bye, y'all. Overtime, we done. Peace. Thanks for watching. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. Don't forget, every Thursday, the full podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and mama, I'm on Spotify. Overall 99 ENT bring you videos from Friday all the way to Friday. So be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it. Again,